Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an unexplained occurrence video. I'm titling this one, The Sand Ship. I had never heard this story before, but it turns out it's documented, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Before I get into this though, if you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you could hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. Friends can still disagree. And check me out over on Rumble for my political commentary and weekly current events. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page over on Amazon.com. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find all of my books there, including the ones pictured here, Drifters, Drifters 2, and Drifters 3. There is a Drifters 4 as well. I have 11 books total published. 2 of them are tabletop role-playing games. 4 of them are the Drifters series. It's a fantasy western. At its heart, it's a shoot-'em-up fist-fighting western. But it's got everything from time travel to alternate dimensions, magic, monsters, precognition, vampires, mummies, everything's in there. Everything except for space aliens and spaceships. For that, you got to go to my other series, the Devopolian Chronicles. But check me out over on YouTube or on the Rumble, or I'll get it right in a minute, on Amazon.com. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find all my stuff there. If you like quirky weird, check me out. You'll find something you like. I almost guarantee it. All right. The Sand Ship. History is rife with stories of fast horses, fast ships, and fast cars. Some stories linked to divinity have people walking into fantastic winged chariots or other vehicular conveyances which transport them high above the world or even to faraway places or other worlds entirely. But these are generally linked to divine beings or those beings' servants, angels, that kind of thing. Excuse me, the story I'm talking about here is a documented case of what they call in video games fast travel. I use that a lot in my hunting video game because walking for 18 clicks across the wilderness to get to the next cabin is ridiculous. So, it comes from a historical account in the Book of Pontiffs of the Church of Ravenna by Agnellius. I hope I got his name right. The story centers on an abbot named John. He runs a monastery in Ravenna. His monastery was beset by a terrible disaster. There was a fire which destroyed the property records, and his rivals were trying to seize his monastery's lands in court. So they saw this opportunity and they were trying to take his land. A sympathetic, wealthy guarantor put up his own money to stave off the scoundrels until John could get the only thing which could save the land, which was a writ from the emperor. He had to travel to Constantinople to get this. It took him many more days than he estimated to get an audience with the ruler, but once he did, the emperor was quick to give him the needed document. Now, however, John had another problem. The guarantor was set to lose everything if John did not appear with the document in one day. He had until the next day to get there. They had a hearing, it was all set. John had to be there the next day. Ravenna was more than a month's journey away. Even if he could secure passage on the fastest sailing ship ever, there was no way he was going to get there in time for that hearing. He's walking on the beach, he was upset. 3 men appeared to John on that beach. They were all dressed in heavy black cloaks, and they called him by name. They knew him. He told them of his plight, and they offered to get him there on time, but there were conditions. First, they handed him a stick, and they instructed him to draw a ship in the sand. It had to be very detailed with sailors, sails, the whole 9 yards. It had to be very detailed. Couldn't just be like a pictograph kind of thing. Then they asked him to lay in the ship, which he did. They told him that once the journey began, no matter what terrible things he heard, he could not speak or cry out, and he could not, under any circumstances, make the sign of the cross. This guy's an abbot in a monastery, but they forbade him to make the sign of the cross. That's a little suspect to me. Now the journey began. There were terrible sounds of the sky cracking open, maybe, I'm thinking thunder. Oars were snapping, is what it sounded like. He heard the roar of the sea and masts falling. The sailors, described as the blackest of beasts he'd ever seen, gave out terrible groans. John didn't move. He didn't make a sound. He barely breathed. He was just scared. When the cock crowed, he found himself on the roof of his own monastery in Ravenna. The journey of a month was completed in a single night. He was able to make it to the hearing and his monastery was saved. The account, normally when I see a story like this, I'm thinking it's somebody's imagination, or it's going to sound bad. They did a lot of drugs back then, you know. I'm thinking something along those lines. But here's the kicker. The account is documented not only in that historical archive that I told you about, what's it called? The Book of Pontiffs of the Church of Ravenna. Okay, it's not only documented there, but the writ is documented in Constantinople. The records in Ravenna document the legal case to try and take the land from him. The date of the writ and of the hearing corroborate the story. So the writ was issued on the day, and then the day after was the hearing. All of that was corroborated. Who were the three men in black robes, and how did they work this strange magic? Now, I'm a Christian. When them telling him not to make the sign of the cross, that doesn't bode well. That would have spooked me right there. But obviously they had something going on there. So because this account was verified, documented, it did in fact happen. So somebody somewhere is working some magic. That's all there is to it. The sand ship. Yeah. Anybody else has any more information or any different information? Maybe I got something wrong. Stick that in the comments. I'm sure we'd all love to read it. That is just a weird damn story. Hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.